Hello friends, so I'm out here in the forge area. So a little project I've got to work on. Got a neighbor buddy of mine that he has this knife, kind of hatchet. It's heavy, but still handheld. He says that it was his dad's, and I guess it never had like an actual handle on it. So growing up and camping with his dad and his family, he remembers his dad using this. And so it's pretty rough. He's got some like a little paint finish on here to protect the metal. He had worked on adding an elk antler handle to it just to try and, give it some more character and make it easier to hold on to and not cut the hand. Well, it just never really got finished. So he asked me if I would help him out, either change the handles or get these ones to work a little better and clean up the blades some, and just, kind of not really restore it, but get it to a better usable condition. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. And so I'm going to pop these pins and rework the handle a little bit, check the metal. I want to see if, let's see, I don't know if I got a good file out here. Got a round file, but, sorry, just hit the deal looking for a file here. So I want to see if how hard the metal is. Will a file skate? I don't know if I need to basically retemper the blade. If not, I'm going to leave it alone. But I do want to file check it and see if it's got a good hardness to it. If not, to fix that. Kind of hard to tell with the paint on here. File does seem to be skating pretty good. I'm not biting. If it was soft, the file, there we're getting to some metal. Things do seem to be skating pretty good. So I'll get this finish off, double check, but I don't think I will be messing with the temper of the blade. It feels like I'm getting some good skating. It's not biting in, so I think we'll probably leave that alone. Just get the finish cleaned up, get the handles off, get that cleaned up, see if this is something I can use. I do have some different antler. I think I'll probably be changing that, but let's get it apart and see what we can do. So it looks like part of the problem too is just we don't have a good flat straight surface on the antler. It is difficult to cut and get a straight cut. So let's see if we can get this other side top free here. Yep. So doesn't look like any glue had been used. At least I'm not seeing evidence of any glue, just these copper pins. So if we reuse these, we'll be using glue and a pin, so we do have a mechanical connection. So got that off. So now we do have a blade we can work with. So I think I might change the material. I like the feel of what is here in the handle. His hand, I believe, is a little bigger than mine, but I do like the feel of that. So we might switch that out to wood or see what I have in antler. I do have some moose paddle. Got one here. So antler is kind of tricky to work with. Your outside of an antler is really hard. The inside of antler is spongy. So not sure if I would be able to get any material out of this that would actually hold up or be usable. We might try just to see, because I've got this flat paddle here. We might try that. I'd just like to get to where it's got some comfortable shape to it, but I got to make sure that when I'm done that I have enough hard antler still left. If it's all spongy, then it's not going to make a good handle. So we're going to play with that a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up. I want to get this finish back off of it and just see what we have to work with, put an edge back on it, and then we'll start messing with some handle material here. Let's see here. Try the wire. I don't really want to heat the metal, just want to get it cleaned up. Okay, so that is actually starting to clean up pretty good. It's got a little bit of pitting, so it definitely has some age. So we'll keep cleaning it up, see what we can get this thing to look like. Alright guys, so that actually cleaned up pretty good. It's got still a little bit of like the maker's scale on there. I don't know how far to chase this, but I think I will go ahead and use a sanding disc and just get things cleaned up, polished up just a little further. Gonna have to use my belt sander and do some work on the blade, but as far as a chopper, you know, around the campfire, camping, whatever, it's got a pretty good feel to it, good weight. So we'll go after this just a little further and try and get this thing polished up just a little bit more. Okay, so there it is. I didn't realize that was a non-threaded disc. And so I've got my spacer and stuff there, but the sanding disc I'm going to use is threaded, so we'll just go with that. Okay. So you can see we're starting to get things cleaned up just a little bit more. So just keep going with that. So with that sanding disc, we are going to get a little more heat out of it. It's going to put a little bit more heat into the blade. So I just want to make sure I don't lose any temper. So just spray it off with some water, keep the blade cool. Come on. Alright guys, so I just found the stamp. This may have been an old military knife. I've got a USMC Chatelain N, and I think it's New York, NY. So this may have been an old military knife. So that's pretty cool. So we'll just keep getting it cleaned up and get a handle on this thing. It just makes me curious, with it being stamped, why it still has so much scaling on it. Unless it was some kind of a treatment left over from when it was made. But with half of the scaling gone, it doesn't look right to leave like a pitted or potted scale on there. So I'm just going to keep cleaning it up. Alright guys, so I'm going to work on the edge of the blade a little bit. I don't want to over chase the face. It is an older knife. It will have imperfections. I'm not trying to take it back down to perfect. Just want to get things to where they're usable and keep some of that character. So we'll work on the edge a little bit here. And then I'm going to use a little bit of my grinder. Just try and clean this edging up a little bit. And then we'll switch over to the belt sander and try and get a good edge on it. Okay, you can see there's some nicks. Don't really want to over chase it, so I just want to get things cleaned up, get an edge on it, but that's a lot of metal to chase, and start changing the blade a little bit for cleaning this up, making it usable. Really don't want to take off a bunch of material. Alright guys, so you can see got a little bit of the edge cleaned up. There are a few dings and bangs in the blade. I'll probably, the belt sander, just try and even those up a little bit and then work on the angle. But overall, getting things cleaned up, and then we'll get ready for a blade. Or a blade. This is a blade. We'll get ready for a handle. Alright, so I'm gonna get this on the belt sander and see what I can do. Alright guys, so just want to show you a little bit of working on the blade, getting it. Just had to do a battery change. One thing about GoPros and cold weather, batteries don't do all that well. So gonna go ahead, work on getting the more of a finished angle on the grind here for the blade, and then we'll be able to switch over and figure out what we're doing for the handle. So just show you this a little bit. I'm just freehanding this. I don't have any jigs made. Someday hopefully I will, to keep a good angle, but I think this will make a good chopper. So here we go. Alright guys, so things are looking pretty good. I can see just a couple glints of somewhere some of the damage had been, so it's not getting that very sharp. I'm going to try a couple passes on this little knife belt sharpener. It's got all its preset angles. I like to finish a lot of my stuff this way. There's like, I don't know, I have like 5 or 6 different grits on these little belts, and I'm sure there's even more than that. But we'll just do that real quick. I do think this knife is going to be used more as a camp style knife, so I'm not worried about a razor sharp edge. You want something that's going to hold up to, you know, hacking some, you know, kindling or limbs or something around the camp. So we'll do a little bit of this and see what we got. Alright guys, I'm going to do some more passes on there. Just don't want to bore you to death, but you get the idea. I can see where the glint changes a little bit with this more finishing belt sander for the blade. We're pretty good here. I'm going to do a few more passes, and then I think we'll move on to the handle and see what we can get this looking like. Alright, so sorry the angle here guys, I was just trying to make sure I catch the anvil in here. So I had an old handle from one of my forging hammers that I had replaced, but I always keep it, you never know. Can make good handle wood for a knife. So I was looking at this one. So in my mind, boy, that angle is rough, sorry. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we have a United States Marine Corps knife here. And so I picture a wood handle, something durable, you can beat up a little bit. I've got the moose antler, I've got the elk antler I took off of here. The shape just doesn't work for the hand though, so, and I'm just thinking a old military knife, you know, you want to be able to hold on to it, you don't want to cut your hand. So I came up with this old handle. It's already got grooves notched in it for, you know, so you don't slip. So looking at this, I'm like, you know what? This to me would make a really nice handle on a knife that was built to be durable. Something you can drop, hit brush with. So I believe this is hickory. Could be maple, but not real good on my woods. But I think this would make a really good handle. So I cut a notch in it with my chop saw. Sorry I didn't get that on film. But got an idea of where I want to cut it. And then we're going to line up the holes to put the mechanical pins back in. I do have some thicker copper. I don't think I have any brass that's this big. So I do think I have some copper, kind of like what had been used. So I'm going to do that as my mechanical pins. We'll epoxy. But anyway, I'm going to get this cut and we'll get it fitted to go on the handle. Then we'll mix up some epoxy, get all that going. So let's do that next, and I'll bring you guys along. Alright, so made a mark of about how long I want this. So the thought is I'll go ahead and put the regular already tapered finish end at the front of the knife. I'm pretty much going to line up the back of the knife, let it run wild off the back. We'll use the belt sander. See, we'll have a little bit to take off right here to shape back down to the metal, but I think that's going to give us a pretty good handle, and I think that'll be a pretty good feel. So we'll move forward with that. So I'll have to get the holes, get this where I want it, get the holes marked, get them drilled, and we can get to the gluing stage. Alright guys, so I've got my holes marked. So figured I'd go ahead and use this little drill vise to help me keep this straight. I've got them in there, just slightly pinched. Got a drill bit that fits the holes of the knife. So let's get our holes drilled. Alright, so we've got our holes drilled. I'll do the other side and we'll keep on going. Alright guys, so that's all drilled. Got my copper pins cut. Just gonna make sure it's a softer copper. Just try and get them pretty straight so that they'll go through the holes. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is just run the tips, or at least one side, on my belt sander, just so they go in easy. We'll do a little bit of a test fit. I'll probably have to do like the center one, or whichever one lines up good, and then just run my drill bit through just to get the other ones to line up good. But we'll test our dry fit, and then we'll jump into the glue. Alright. I think what I'm going to do is go with the middle hole. Here's the problem. It's the same size as the drill bit, so it's a little snug. Let me clean these pins up a little bit. They got some oxidation and stuff on them. And you saw I tried to straighten them out. They're a little not perfectly straight. So I'll clean these up. Okay, so you can see, I'll probably go ahead and wash these with a little bit of soap and water. Same with the handle, just to make sure that our glue is going to stick. One good thing about these being the same size as the drill bit is we will get a good grip. So we will get a good mechanical adhesion. And epoxy glues are great, but it's always a good idea to have a mechanical connection and not have anything pop loose, because when a knife or whatever is being used as like a chopping device, you're always going to get vibrations down through the knife into your handle. You get too many vibrations, you are going to pop that glue eventually. So it's always good to have a mechanical connection. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get this drill bit, get it put into my drill and work a hole. So let me go get my drill and I'll be right back. Okay. Let's make sure this one. Alright, so I started with the middle. Make sure we get other holes lined up here. Okay, we're just slightly off. I think what I'm going to do, guys, is switch over to the vise. So hold on a second. Okay, got that one lined up. Let's get this side. Tappy tappy. Now we've got 2 lined up. Let's make sure the third. Okay. These copper pieces not being perfectly straight, I think is causing me more issue. Okay, so we do have 3 pins. So I'm going to pull the handle back a little bit, get all of our glue in there. Alright guys, so after test fitting, got the handles back off a little bit. So now we can go get some epoxy in there. Once that sets up, then we can shape things up a little bit, get things cleaned up, but looking pretty good. I think that's going to be a nice handle, but shaping will definitely help. So let's move into my heated studio area so that we've got heat. Make sure everything gets warmed up so we can get the epoxy to activate. Alright, so I think we're finally to the glue stage. Anyway guys, I just put this out here. This is a railroad spike knife that I had made on a prior video. Just wanted to, since it was sitting out here, just wanted to show it on this video. It does have my maker's mark, which is a rocking R. Don't know how well there. So that's my maker's mark. So anyway, it was out here. Just thought I'd share. But on to this knife. So guys, when I started this knife, this is a weird place to talk about this, but I was thinking this was probably an old leaf spring that someone had turned into a knife. Turns out I was wrong. Since it is stamped U.S. Marine Corps, and I'm hacking this Chatillon, and it looks like New York. So really does look like, and when I tried testing this for hardness, has a really good hardness. So all we did was just try and bring this knife back, put some life back in it. So we're going to mix up some epoxy, get this handle glued, and we'll go from there. Try and get out any air bubbles here, get these equal. Always seems like the hardest part, getting equal parts. I'm just using a 5-minute clear epoxy. It is a 2-ton epoxy, 2500 psi strength. It says extended work time, but it does say 5 minutes, but usually that's more 10-15. So when we have this all good and mixed, we'll get it in here, get the handles squeezed on there. And I'll probably wait a half hour, an hour, go take a little lunch break, let this set up, and then we will come back and shape the handle to the knife. And we should have a pretty good little knife then after that. hopefully that's enough to give us a good chemical reaction. Just gonna put some gloves on because I always seem to get this stuff everywhere, which will be fine. We're gonna be shaping the handle, cleaning the knife, so that won't be a problem later. So let's get this down in here. I want to get it gooped pretty good. Want a good adhesion. Okay, got it all over the wood. Get some on the metal. Make sure I get some on the pins. Okay, I've got one side pretty good, so we'll squeeze it over. So this side, we got a good amount of epoxy there, so I pushed it over. Now I can get it on the other side. So let's get this epoxied. Okay, and get it on wood. Just trying to make sure we get a good coating. We're going to squeeze out all the excess, and then when we shape the handle, shouldn't be a problem. But I'd rather have too much than not enough. Feels like it's getting a little tacky, so that's good. Okay guys, I feel pretty good about that. Start getting this squeezed. Oh, almost like it's turkey season. Maybe. Oh. Might need to do out here. Okay guys, I'm not going for super tight, but I definitely want to get it good. Oh shoot, wrong trigger. Definitely want to get it good and tight. Okay. Got a good amount squeezed out. And we do have this little bit that sticks out the back of the blade. I'm just going to make sure that's good and rounded off. I'm going to leave it there because it does stop the heel so it doesn't slide out. But the handle material I had wouldn't cover it. But I think it's worth leaving there. Okay. Let's let that harden. So we'll see you guys in a little bit and we'll get this handle shaped up. All right, guys. So it's actually the next day. Yesterday I did check on this. It was tacky at 1 hour. At 2 hours it was all solid, but decided to just call it a day yesterday. So now everything's good and solid. We'll get this undone. We'll get it over to the sander. And let's get this handle shaped up, cleaned up. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is clear coating this whole thing. Just to give it some protection. So let's get that going. Let's get this handle shaped up. Alright guys, so before I put it on the belt sander, I just want to get these copper pins shortened. Okay, that's not going as fast as I'd like. Probably shouldn't use a cutoff disc on soft metal because it doesn't actually get thrown away. It'll clog up the blade, can overheat and can explode the blade. But I think for this we'll be okay. Alright. Okay. Let's get this over to the sander. Get some shape on this. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and put a fresh belt on. Just getting a little worn. I've been using it for a while, so. And as you can see guys, this is, at least when I got this was just a $50 little belt sander from Harbor Freight, which has been working in a pinch. I think I'm going to put a 40 grit on just to help with getting more wood off, and then I'll probably put my 80 or 120 on more as a finish. But right now we're just trying to get some of this wood off. So and as you were seeing, I can stall this motor out pretty easy. So it's not the strongest, it's not the best, but it does work. guys, so just real quick, you can see there's a metal backing plate here that when I want to take material off, I can push against that, get it flat. When I want a little bit more float, I come up here where there is no backing plate, and then that helps give a little bit more rounding shape to it without being so just flat and square. This just helps smooth out corners, edges. So I think we've got it down pretty good. We're pretty much to the metal shape. So let's switch back. I think I'll drop to an 80 grit belt and do more shaping now that I've got basically the material off of here. Okay, there is a directional arrow, so I am following that. Alright guys, so as you see, pretty simple to change a belt. Alright guys, so I'm going to do a little bit more touch up here, but overall I think I've got the shape I want. Probably use a little bit of a sanding block, just touch things up a little bit more. And that's it. Alright guys, I'm going to switch over, put this in the vise, do a little bit of block sanding, a little bit of freehand sanding, but I think we're there. Alright. Alright guys, so I have a little bit of emery cloth here and sanding sponge. Just do a little bit of hand shaping, just some little angles here to get smoothed out. Just don't want any rough, sharp edges that'll grab the hand. Okay, I don't feel anything sharp. Don't feel anything biting my hand. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Check the other side here. Alright guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and get it ready for clear coating. Just get everything wiped down and we'll show you that next. Alright guys, so got everything cleaned up, wiped down. So I'm going to take it outside, put some clear coat on it and just protect it, and we'll go from there. We'll spray it, let it dry, and then I should be able to get it back to the neighbor here this afternoon. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Well, I'll give you a final picture here, little clip, and we'll go from there. But overall, happy with it. For an old knife, I think it cleaned up pretty good. I think the handle's pretty comfortable, so liking it. Alright, I'll go get it sprayed and give you guys one last look, and then we'll call it good. Alright guys, got it clear coated. Gonna let it dry, but looking pretty good. Give you a little close up here. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.